Romney. Obsolescence.
You walk into this room at your own risk, because it leads to the future. Not a future that will be, but one that might be. This is not a new world. It is simply an extension of what began in the old one. It has patterned itself after every dictator who has ever planted the ripping imprint of a boot on the pages of history since the beginning of time. It has refinements, technological advances, and a more sophisticated approach to the destruction of human freedom. But like every one of the super-states that preceded it, it has one iron rule. Logic is an enemy and truth is a menace. This is Mr. Romney Wordsworth in his last 48 hours on Earth. He's a citizen of the state, but will soon have to be eliminated. Because he is built out of flesh, and because he has a mind.
You've been under investigation, Mr. Wordsworth, for the mandatory period of 1 year and 11 months. You're found to be obsolete. The purpose of this hearing is to make a finding in the matter and make a sentence accordingly. Do you understand that, Mr. Wordsworth? Your occupation, Mr. Wordsworth?
A librarian, sir.
A librarian. Having to do with books.
Yes, sir. Books.
Since there are no more books, Mr. Wordsworth, there are no more libraries. The field investigators in your sector have classified you as obsolete. Your rights are as follows, Mr. Wordsworth. You are to be liquidated within a period of 48 hours. You are obsolete, Mr. Wordsworth.
A lie. No man is obsolete.
You have the function, Mr. Wordsworth. You're an anachronism, like a ghost from another time.
I am nothing more than a reminder to you that you cannot destroy truth by burning pages.
You're a bug, Mr. Wordsworth, a crawling insect, an ugly, misformed little creature who has no purpose here, no meaning.
I am a human being.
Delusions, Mr. Wordsworth. Delusions that you inject into your veins with printer's ink. The narcotics that you call literature, poetry, essays of all kind, all of it an opiate. You have nothing but spindly limbs and a dream, and the state has no use for your kind.
I don't care. I tell you, I don't care. I'm a human being. I exist. And if I speak one thought aloud, that thought lives, even after I'm shoveled into my grave.
The Chancellor, the late Chancellor, was only partly correct. He was obsolete. But so is the state, the entity he worshipped. Any state, any entity, any ideology that fails to recognize the worth, the dignity, the rights of man, that state is obsolete.
Hallo allemaal, daar zijn we er weer. RHTV Live vanuit het mooie, zonnige Maastricht. Ja, we gaan Maastricht weer even op de kaart zetten. Zo. Hier hebben we Maastricht. Ja, het ligt natuurlijk in het zuiden des lands. En zoals je gewend bent bij RHTV Live, hebben we het over geopolitiek en ook geschiedenis. Ja. En in 1983 gebeurde iets opmerkelijks. Ja. Wat gebeurde er ook weer in 1983? Nou, we gaan even naar wat beelden kijken van 1983. Ja. We gaan naar het YouTube-kanaal Andere Tijden. En dan zie je dus wat er gebeurt in 1983. Ja, de eerste computers komen uit. We gaan even hier naar kijken.
PC-revolutie 1983, toen het apparaat geïntroduceerd werd in ons land en niemand er nog raad mee wist. Een blik in de prehistorie van ons eigen digitale tijdperk.
Ik had een huiscomputer, oh dat is zo'n handig ding. Want zo'n apparaat dat doet er welke menselijke handeling.
Van die koelkastgrote computer gebeurde er technisch iets nieuws. Je kon een microcomputer maken. Kijk, hier een heel klein chipje. Hier heeft iemand stiekem in zijn bureaulaadje zijn microcomputer verborgen. Kennelijk was de baas daar minder gelukkig mee, maar hij heeft dit heel gefascineerd in elkaar gesoldeerd.
2 toekomstbeelden, 1 van hoop, 1 van vrees, maar allebei even losgezongen van de werkelijkheid. Dat was de situatie toen het degelijke IBM een gooi naar het publiek deed met de introductie van wat daarmee voor het eerst de naam personal computer kreeg. Eind 1981 kwamen de eerste exemplaren op de markt in Amerika. En 1,5 jaar later stond de eerste lading bij de Nederlandse importeur.
Ja, dat was een hele toestand. Want ik weet me nog te herinneren dat er op een zaterdag werd er een vrachtwagen bij ons stijf tegen het gebouw aangereden, want het moest in het diepste geheim. En er werden 40 dozen uitgeladen, 20 computers en 20 beeldschermen. Ja, je staat bijna met de zweet tussen de billen, want dat apparaat. En het was voor ons ook allemaal nieuw. Geen van de mensen die daar toen met die annoncering bezig geweest zijn, had zo'n apparaat ooit van dichtbij gezien op 1 iemand die naar de Verenigde Staten was geweest voor een introductiecursus. En voor de rest was het voor ons allemaal nieuw. Er zat wat papierwerk, er zat wat boekwerk bij.
1980 bedenkt dan IBM, wij gaan toch ons op deze markt begeven. Komt echter razendsnel in 1981 met zijn eerste machine op de markt. Claimen dan die naamgeving, personal computer, als een type naam, als een productnaam. Apple heeft vanaf dat moment die naam personal computer natuurlijk niet meer gebruikt. Dus als je...
Moet je zien hoe groot die beeldschermen zijn. Er waren echt grote kasten hoor. Ja, dat weet ik nog. Ja, het is gewoon in de loop van de tijd zo veranderd. Je hebt nu gewoon een computer op je zaktelefoon. Ja, er was ooit een tijd, daar kon je er alleen maar mee bellen en sms'en. Weet je? En dat sms was ook nog gratis. Ja, dan kreeg je als functie erbij. Maar ja, we leven nou in andere tijden. Hè? Ja. Dus, 1983 zagen we de opkomst van de computer. Ja, en waarom heb ik het hier over? Nou, we zien het overal om ons heen. De automatisering. Ja, er komt ooit nog een tijd dat vrachtwagenchauffeurs overbodig zijn. Ja. En dat gaat alsmaar verder. Het raast maar door en raast maar door. Ja, dat heet dan vooruitgang. Goed. We gaan ook even kijken naar iets wat recentelijker gebeurde in de geschiedenis van Nederland. Namelijk het aftreden van de minister van Defensie. Weten jullie dat nog? We gaan eventjes minister Hennis naar voren halen. Zo, kennen we die nog? Minister Hennis. Oh ja, wat gebeurde er toen? Hè? Nou, er waren twee Nederlandse militairen dood en eentje zwaar gewond vanwege defecte materieel. Ja, weten we dat nog? Kwam Thierry Baudet ook in een legervest en zoiets, hè? Weten we dat nog? Goed, we gaan even hier naar kijken.
Voorzitter, ik stel vast dat op verschillende momenten de veiligheidsrisico's onvoldoende zijn onderkend en afgewogen. Ik stel vast dat op verschillende momenten menselijk handelen en niet handelen tezamen de context hebben gevormd voor de Tragische gebeurtenissen waarbij 2 van onze militairen zijn omgekomen en een derde militair zwaar gewond is geraakt. En voorzitter, dat is onverteerbaar. En hiervoor ben ik politiek verantwoordelijk. En die verantwoordelijkheid neem ik. Ik neem hem ten volle. Voorzitter, de afgelopen jaren heb ik steeds naar eer en geweten gehandeld. Heb ik met hart, ziel en zaligheid gediend op Defensie. Maar het stopt hier vandaag. Ik stop als minister van Defensie en ik zal Zijne Majesteit de Koning dan ook verzoeken om mij met onmiddellijke ingang ontslag te verlenen. Voorzitter, ook de commandant der strijdkrachten heeft besloten zijn functie per direct neer te leggen. Het wederzijds vertrouwen was en is groot. En het was een voorrecht om met hem te mogen samenwerken. En zo ook, zeg ik via hem, voorzitter, met alle medewerkers van Defensie, militairen en burgers. Stuk voor stuk, bijzondere mensen, unieke mensen, mensen aan wie ik veel dank verschuldig. Voorzitter, rest mij ook u en uw Kamer te danken voor de samenwerking. Dank u wel.
Deze mensen, die hebben zich opgegeven voor Afghanistan zonder te weten waar het echt ligt en zonder de situatie te kennen. Deze mensen, die hebben hun leven geofferd. Ja. Het is heel erg triest dat wij weer in een oorlog betrokken waren. Zoals Afghanistan, waar we eigenlijk niks mee te maken hadden. We hoefden niet per definitie naar Afghanistan toe te gaan. Kijk, wij hebben iets dat defensie heet. Ja, dan ga je defensief opstellen. Dan ga je niet aanvallen. Nee, dat moet je niet gaan doen. Maar de reden dat we het hier over hebben, de aftreden minister Hennis, is dus omdat wij heel veel geld geven en legermateriaal aan Oekraïne. Ja. Dus dan heb je te maken met defecte legermateriaal. En ja, dat is meestal niet zo heel erg goed. Dus we gaan even kijken naar hoeveel steun en legermateriaal wij Oekraïne geven. Nederland leverde voor 1,6 miljard. Ja, dat is voor de gemiddelde burger een heel hoog bedrag. Zullen ze nooit kunnen behalen middels hun baan. Nee, want je moet weer inleveren. Je mag net je kop boven water houden. Ja, dat mag nog net. Nederland leverde inmiddels voor 1,6 miljard aan militaire steun aan Oekraïne, stand 16 mei 2023. De steun bestaat uit directe levering vanuit eigen militaire voorraden, is voor een waarde van 732 miljoen aan materieel geleverd aan Oekraïne. Nou, jullie kunnen het lezen. Ja. Dus, ja, ik denk niet dat het aftreden van Hennis iets heeft opgelost. Hè? Dus feitelijk zitten we nog steeds met defecte legermateriaal. Ja, en waarom is dit zo belangrijk? Waarom halen we weer Oekraïne aan? Nou, Oekraïne is met een slotoffensief bezig, of een offensief. Hè? En ja, die offensief zijn ze op Russisch terrein aan het bestrijden. Ja. We zagen het, er was een kleine groep die naar Belgorod toe ging. En ja, die werden tegengehouden door Rusland. Maar we gaan even kijken naar Patrick Lancaster, die dus ook in Rusland, dan wel in Oekraïne, het oosten, zit. En ja, dan gaan we even kijken naar wat hij allemaal heeft meegemaakt. Ja. Hier, dat is een uur geleden gepost. Dus hij zit dus bij Belgorod. Dat is die stad dat aangevallen werd. En we gaan het eerst even aanwijzen op de kaart, zodat men een beter perspectief heeft. Dat lijkt me wel zo verstandig. Belgorod. Hier hebben we Belgorod. En als we dan uitzoomen, dan zien we dat Kharkiv er niet ver vandaan is. Daar hebben we dan Kharkiv. Zie je, ik ken dat gebied wel een beetje. Ja, dus en we weten dat er een offensief was in Belgorod en eromheen. En ja, we gaan even naar wat beelden van Patrick Lancaster kijken. Ja, want die zit daar in Belgorod. Even opzoeken. Hier. Zo. En we draaien het even af.
I'm Patrick Lancaster, and right now we are in the Belgorod region of Russia, where there's been intense fighting, and we've been bringing it to you moment by moment. And right behind me, you see the Russian army preparing a 152 millimeter artillery gun to fire on Ukrainian military positions in the Kharkov region of Ukraine. We're very close to the border between Russia and Ukraine, and we're going to show you what the situation is here and how this process goes. Please like, share, and subscribe. Remember, we're totally independent, crowdfunded journalists. You can support our work with the link on the screen or in the description. Можно сказать, что произошло сейчас?
Сейчас перевели орудие в походное положение для смены огневой позиции.
Ага. Now we're going from one location to another because that's tactically how war with artillery works, because these are mobile launchers, so they don't just stay in one place and launch their artillery so the enemy, whichever side it is, can locate their firing position. They move to a new location, fire, and then get the heck out of there as fast as possible, because in most cases there's return fire from the target trying to destroy who fired on them, because once it's fired, their location is given up. So that's why we're going to another location, and once we get there, once it gets fired, then that's when there might be a return fire. So it's a dangerous situation, but we're doing this to show you what the facts here are on the ground. Можете сказать, что будет сейчас?
Сейчас мы ориентируем бусоль для задания основного направления стрельбы орудия.
Ага.
Ориентируем бусоль по двум точкам решением обратной геодезической задачи с помощью навигационного оборудования «Орион».
Hier wordt dus de positie gemeten, hè, waar ze moeten gaan schieten. En ja, je zag het net, hè, ze verplaatsen zich van de ene plek naar de andere. En ja, dan gaan ze weer de kanon uithalen en dan gaan ze weer schieten. Dus ja, dit moet ophouden. Ik zeg je, dit moet gewoon ophouden. Ja. En ja, helaas hebben wij dus een minister-president die heel veel geld uitgeeft aan een oorlog en hoopt daarmee vrede te bereiken. Nou, wat ben je dan voor lulhannes als je zo denkt? Hè? Zo bereik je niks. Hè? Weet je nog, Irak? Ja, dat vergeten we ook niet, hè? Irak. Ja, die mensen waren zogenaamd bevrijd. Nou, dus niet, hè. Maar de tensies lopen op in Oekraïne en rondom, ook in Rusland. Dus, ja, waarom is dit allemaal zo belangrijk, hè? Het hele Oekraïne? Nou, dat werd dus beschreven door Zbigniew Brzezinski. Daar hebben we het ook heel vaak over gehad bij RHTVLive. Zbigniew Brzezinski. Ja, die kennen we wel, hè. Goed, we gaan even hier naar kijken. According to Brzezinski, who passed away in May 2017, independent since 1991, Ukraine is an important space in the Eurasian chessboard, the control of which is supposed to make domination over the world possible. In a post-Cold War world, under the United States geostrategic domination, Brzezinski identifies Ukraine in Eurasia alongside Azerbaijan and Uzbekistan as a state deserving America's strongest geopolitical support. While Ukraine's independence affects the nature of Russia's state itself, it is for the US the critical state among key Eurasian geopolitical pivots being defined as states whose importance is derived not from their power and motivation, but rather from their sensitive location and from the consequence of their potentially vulnerable condition for the behavior of geostrategic players such as Russia. Ja. Dus Zbigniew Brzezinski zegt eigenlijk van ja, Oekraïne is een vrije staat, zo kun je het een beetje zien, neutraal. En ja, dat is natuurlijk voor het Westen een heel goed land om in te pikken. Want zo pak je dus Rusland aan. Ja, zo ga je dus Rusland omsingelen. Ja. De enige op de kaart die voor de Russische Federatie is Wit-Rusland. Ja. Wit-Rusland is de enige land binnen Europa die dus voor de Russische Federatie is. En we weten wie in Wit-Rusland de macht heeft daar zo. Wordt ook wel de laatste dictator van Europa genoemd. Iemand? Weet iemand dat? We gaan eens even kijken naar de commentaar hier zo. So, who is running Belarus? Anyone? Niemand? Lukashenko. Ja, Lukashenko. Onthoud die naam, hè, want die zit al 30 jaar zo'n beetje aan de macht daar in Wit-Rusland. Ja. En het schijnt dat hij nogal ziek is. Die heeft al een hele tijd geen openbare optreden gedaan. Maar we weten dat een akkoord is getekend tussen Rusland en Wit-Rusland om nucleaire raketten te stationeren in Wit-Rusland bij Minsk. En ja, waar zijn die op gericht? Dat is maar de vraag. We weten dus ook dat Iran een supersonisch raket heeft. Misschien weet men dat niet. Dan laten we het ook wel eventjes zien. Dat was op Al Jazeera te vinden. En we gaan ook zo even kijken naar Al Jazeera. Wacht even hoor. Even kijken, even zoeken. Misschien kunnen jullie even mee gaan zoeken. Zo. Hup. Al Jazeera. Ja. En nuclear ambitions. Ja, schijnbaar hebben ze geen nucleaire ambities. Ja, maar ze hebben dan wel een supersonische raket. Ja. Supersonic missile. Alright, so. Ja, hypersonic. We gaan even hier naar kijken. Dit hebben we al eerder laten zien, trouwens.
An unveiling ceremony more than 6 months in the making. High-ranking officials watch as the Revolutionary Guard's Aerospace Division displays what Iran says is its first domestically produced hypersonic ballistic missile. Named Fatah, the missile has a range of 1,400 kilometers and a speed of more than 15,000 kilometers an hour. That's more than 12 times faster than the speed of sound. It's able to change direction rapidly and avoid most defense systems by traveling outside the Earth's atmosphere. President Ebrahim Raisi explained why Iran has developed such a weapon.
It is for deterrence. We build this missile so that our enemies don't even think about any acts of aggression against us. This unveiling has a message of security for all in the region, not just Iran. People should know the level of security in the entire region has increased.
Despite assurances and promises from the president to the contrary, this development is likely to increase tensions in the region. Iran's ballistic missile program has been under UN Security Council sanctions since 2006, a restriction that's due to be lifted in October as a result of the 2015 nuclear deal. That's when Iran will be allowed to buy and sell advanced missile technology.
One of the most important characteristics of this missile is it can confront defense systems like that of enemies of Iran, like the US and the Zionist regime. Since they have very advanced defense systems, this could have a significant impact on the weapons the Americans are selling specially to regional countries.
You gotta love that, right? The Zionist regime. They're not naming Israel. Hello, Canada. Nice of you to come by and watch RHTVLive. We're talking about the hypersonic missile that Iran has. And, you know, it's dangerous times we live in. We're going to show you guys the map. Here we go. So over here you have Iran. And over here we have Israel, right? Now, Israel and Iran aren't really friends of each other, you know? And when they attacked Syria per proxy, you know, they funded all these small armies to overthrow the Syrian government. When that happened, the Syrian government invited Iran to come over to Syria to protect Syria. And Syria also invited Russia, right? Because in Syria, there's a harbor, which is a Russian military harbor in Tartus. So we're going to show you that. There you go, Tartus. So over here you have a Russian military harbor, basically. And, you know, the president of Syria said they're also attacking the base, you know, and that provoked Russia to also protect Syria, right? So now that war, called a civil war or, you know, proxy war, that war is in a frozen state right now. In the north of Syria, we have all these rebel groups, you know, and they're still in control. So that's put on ice, put it that way, right? And there's so much to say, but that's the whole situation in Syria. And there's also the Arab League, not the Justice League, but the Arab League, right? And that's many countries into one group. And they invited Syria after 13 years of, you know, you're not allowed in the group. So that's a whole paradigm shift. They tried to overthrow Syria. That did not happen. And they welcomed Assad back into the Arab League, right? So we were talking about Brzezinski, the geopolitical pivot, Ukraine, and very important what's happening over there. Yeah, we cover that, right? Let's see what else. What's happening over there in Canada? Maybe Kotab could, you know, come on the show. Not right now, but, you know, tell about Canada. Because from what I'm getting, Canada is under fire, right? Let's see. And fire today. So we're going to show you images. We laten beelden zien van Canada. Ja, en gaat er heftig aan toe. Grote bosbranden. En dat gaat allemaal naar New York toe. En zoiets. Let's see if we can find that. There we go. Canada fires. Wildfires. So we're going to take a look at this here.
This aggressive and extreme fire activity in northeastern BC forced the evacuation of a community of nearly 2,500 people Thursday. Evacuees like Jennifer Slack trying to explain what's happening to her young son.
This morning he asked if our house is there, if it was burned, and I told him I didn't know.
It was a bit of pandemonium there for a bit at the fuel pumps and places like that, and the grocery stores.
On Vancouver Island, an out-of-control wildfire east of Port Alberni shut down the only highway connecting the community with the rest of BC. Manitoba is bracing for heavy lightning-generating thunderstorms as Alberta sees more evacuation orders.
There's no clear or single answer as to what's causing these fires, but a forest management expert here in BC says a clear sign of the bigger picture issues at play is the tinder dry conditions in this Vancouver park.
Well, we're standing in a temperate rainforest. Rainforest. It doesn't look like a rainforest right now. I would say that climate change is undoubtedly a factor affecting these fires.
He says that's because of the predicted changes in climate, from drought in the east to warmer temperatures earlier in the west.
We have fires right the way across Canada in 9 provinces, 2 territories, and that's unprecedented.
We asked experts across the country and in the U.S. about the connection between climate change and Canada's wildfires.
Global warming has a direct and obvious effect on the risk by raising temperature, which will dry out vegetation more quickly and more completely.
We're also seeing a number of fires being caused by lightning. Climate change is projected to increase the number of lightning ignitions as atmospheric temperature warms.
There have been other springs that have been dry and warm, but not across the entire country.
Better forest management techniques like proactively removing highly flammable materials can help.
This is all drying out and it becomes incredibly flammable. And you can see how easily it's broken.
Especially as those like Alberta's premier continue downplaying the connection between climate change and wildfires, which experts say is obvious. Neetu Garcha, Global News, Vancouver.
Yep, that's happening over there in Canada. And I was kind of searching, right, on Google. Google is your friend. And let's see if they can find something here. Canada fires 2020. I believe there were fires back then, right? Let's see here. These are statistics of Canada. Let's see. Compared with 2020, outdoor fires, excluding wildfires, increased by just over 2,700 incidents in 2021, becoming the most commonly reported type of fire for the first time ever. Okay. That's interesting to know, right? So, yeah. Isn't it strange? Isn't it strange? Number of deaths rising from 148 in 2019 to 202 in 2021. Prior to the pandemic, right? Total fire incidents have generally been declining. Now, if you shut people inside their homes, right? People are like, screw this. I'm going to go into the woods, you know. So, what's happening there, right? But we love Canada, and we're also watching what's happening over there. So, let's see what else we got here. There's so much to show let's see. This is also very interesting. Randall Feller used to be a guest on RHTVLive. He's in Suriname, South America. So, let's see. Now, this here is a list of things that the VVD, which is the leading party in the Netherlands, we have a coalition of 4 parties. The VVD is the leading party. And this is a whole list of things the VVD has done in the almost 13 years in power. So 77,000 caretakers fired, 1,000 intensive care beds are gone, right? Hospitals are closed. Ukraine referendum passed with a small paper, you know. We had a referendum on Ukraine, and that said we don't want to trade with Ukraine, right? Before you come into the EU, you have to have trade relations with other EU countries. And we had a referendum and we said no. A majority of the Netherlands said no. 62.7 or somewhat percent. And our president, Mark Rutte, Prime Minister, said, yep, we're going to abide by what the public wants, right? And he did not. So he totally ignored the vote that the Netherlands had cast upon the trade agreement with Ukraine, right? And since we're talking about the referendum, we had a referendum, only it was not binding, right? It's like giving advice, and the cabinet said, screw you, population, you know, we're going to do our own thing. So, and they, now the referendum is gone. And they want to reintroduce the referendum, but they're, you know, talking about small details, and so it still hasn't passed yet. Even kijken. BTW-verhoging, so tax increase. De AOW-leeftijd omhoog. The pension, right? It was 65, and you could quit work and stuff like that, get your pension, and now it's turned up a notch to 67, right? You have to work till you're 67, and people here in the Netherlands say, okay, yep, I'll bow down to you, government. Thank you. Really, it's we also finance terrorists, right? The jihadis, named Debat al-Shamia. Yep. You may think that I'm, you know, making this up, but I'm really not. We gave 25 million to Debat al-Shamia. We supported the jihadis we were supposed to fight, right? So, Kijk eens mensen, dit gebeurt. Wij steunen de jihadisten in Syrië. So Netherlands gave support to jihadis in Syria. Debat al-Shamia, which our own Justice Department says it's a criminal organization and has terroristic tendencies, you know. So between May 2015 and spring 2018, the Netherlands supported 22 groups in Syria with weapons and stuff. But they did not get weapons from the Netherlands, but they did get for 25 million euros on cars, right? 313 in total, food, medication, communication devices, tents, uniforms, and training. So we supported the jihadis. Now, I was saying this in 2011, and, you know, people were like, you're crazy, you know. I'm not. I was right. I was right. I was right all the time, you know. And why, you may ask? Well, who was the foreign advisor of Obama, right? Who was the foreign advisor of Obama? Well, that was, we just showed him, Zbigniew Brzezinski. And he is known for making a jihadi movement named the Mujahideen, right, during the 80s to fend off Russia from Afghanistan, right? So, and we also supported that as the Netherlands. So there we have some history. And of course, geopolitics, because that's very, very needed, right? And yeah, I'm just showing you guys what's happening around the world. And we know what's happening. We know that Brazil is trying to make a South American Union, right? Now, you could say that's a good thing, or you could say that's a bad thing. Well, living inside the European Union, I would say, don't do that, South America. Don't do that. Don't make a new union. Have your sovereign countries, right? But stabilize your economy. Very, very easy to do. So when you have the levers of power. So, and you may say, it's all coming out of my head, right? Nope. Lula, what's that guy's name? Oh well, Venezuela, there. So there was a South American summit, right? I'm not making this up. I'm really not. I'm just showing you guys what's going on. So here you have the South America Summit, right? There we have Maduro, who's basically seen by the West as a dictator to Venezuela, and you had the opposition leader seen as president, whilst he was not even president, you know. So very interesting things happening there. We're going to take a look at this here. If it works. Hello? We have images.
4 years ago, Venezuela's President Nicolás Maduro was barred from entering neighboring Brazil. Scores of countries recognized opposition leader Juan Guaidó instead as the interim president. Now, Maduro's left-wing peer, Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, is welcoming him back into the fold.
It's hard to conceive that so many years had to pass without having a dialogue with the government of a brotherly Amazonian country, a neighbor with whom we share a 2,200-kilometer border.
President Maduro lashed out at the United States and others who call him a dictator.
We can't allow intolerant ideologies to impose their will, extremist ideologies that exclude those who think differently.
Maduro was the first president to arrive for Tuesday's meeting of South American presidents, an initiative by Lula to try to unite the region around common interest.
Unlike his predecessor, Hugo Chavez, Maduro has rarely come to these regional gatherings. So it sends a strong message, the fact that he's here, that both he and his peers are willing to sit down together and work.
During his last presidency, Lula tried to create a South American Union. 15 years later, he's trying again, arguing that...
Call me a conspiracy theorist, right? South American Union. And I know there are Canadians also watching. There's also something called the North American Union, right? We'll show you guys that, but first, this year.
That in a world increasingly divided into blocs, the region's voice must be heard.
She wrote an article.
Former Foreign Minister Celso Amorim, today Lula's chief advisor, insists that unity does not require ideological alignment.
Of course, there will be different views, but we have common interests in many respects. And we have to try to to search our interests, to look after our interests in a unified way, because like that we have more strength. That's as simple as that.
But it hasn't been simple. South American unity has long eluded a region that accounts for nearly 10% of the world's population, and an even larger share of key commodities such as lithium, copper and soy, to name a few. That's why many attending the summit are adamant that if they don't speak with one voice, no one will listen to them. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera, Brasilia.
So this is also how the European Union started, right? Conglomeration of countries coming together because of economic prosperity or something along those lines, right? So I told you guys about the North American Union. Lula was busy doing his South American Union, but there's also a North American Union, right? And we have Justin Trudeau at the levers of power over there. And we also have Demented Joe in the levers of power in America. And, this is happening. This is on table. It's not a theory, Wikipedia. It's not a theory, right? They want to keep you in the dark, okay? It's not a theory. You just saw that Lula was making the South American Union, right? They're trying to keep you in the dark. And we are the light. We confront the darkness. We know what's going on. We know what's going on. All these globalists, these technocrats taking over power, We know what's going on. We know the shadow organizations, Bilderberg Group, right? Council on Foreign Relations, Trilateral Commission, World Economic Forum. Now, if you've seen James Bond, you know, it's there's someone who very identically looks like a Bond villain, right? What's his name? I forgot. You know, the guy with the monocle and the cat, bald guy. They even did a sketch on that, Austin Powers and stuff. That guy. What's his name? Let's see if we can search it. Bald James Bond villain. There we go. Here he is. Blofeld. Yeah, that's his name. So we're going to take a look at this here. Right. Here we have Mr. Blofeld in his chair with the cat. This is a better picture. Now, remember this, right? Remember this. Let's see if we can find. Do you guys see a comparison here? Kind of looks like him, right? We are living in the twilight zone, people. You need to wake up. Wake up, smell the roses. You know, we're living in the twilight zone. And people mad with power like this guy here, he needs to be stopped, right? He needs to be stopped by the majority of the public. Now, there is a very big majority of the public, and they follow leaders, right? So I was watching President or former President Donald J. Trump, who was in Georgia. Let's see. Kijk, zo. Ja, mensen, hier zien we Donald Trump. Die wordt vervolgd. Die wordt achterna gezeten door justitie om te voorkomen dat hij dus gaat runnen in 2024. Ja, ze proberen hem achter de tralies te krijgen. They're trying to put him behind bars and all these false accusations. Remember the Russia hoax? Russia. Yeah. And all these great publications and all that. They got Pulitzer Prizes and, you know, saying that they're top journalists. Come on. We do better work than you do, right? We do better work than you do. We are the media. You are the media, you know? So we're going to take a look at Trump here.
Thank you, Barry. You want to say something? Come on, say something, Mark.
I want to let you all know, and this is something that you know, this is something that I know. President Trump is beating Joe Biden poll after poll after poll. He's up 7 points today. And if he were to run against Kamala Harris, he's up 11 points, which is funny. All right, Georgia, let's get the job done in 24. Let's get President Trump across the line. Let's get him back in the White House for 4 more years.
Don't you just love her, Marjorie Taylor Greene? She's investigating the Democrats, right? We know what's going on. We know there was foul play. Now you're allowed to talk about it, right? We know what's going on. And it's up to us, to decide. Do we let ourselves lead by this prime example for president? He also did stuff wrong, like bombing the Iranian general. Yep, that was a death sentence. And he should not have done that. He should not have given the Golan Heights to Israel. He shouldn't have done that. But, we all have our faults. This was the very first president, or is, who went to North Korea. He was provoking Kim Jong-un, saying, "Rocket Man, Rocket Man." He's a big fan of Elton John, So, yeah. And eventually they spoke together. Now, no president ever has done this before, right? So we're going to take a look at this.
Thank you. I just wish she was a little bit more aggressive. She's great. She loves the country. She loves her state. She loves her district. She's incredible. And she wins her district by incredible numbers. In the past 3 years, and remember one thing, when we talk about this phone call, it was perfect. It was perfect. I was complaining about the vote. Jody's heard it 10 times. But
I love America too, as a foreigner, right? Because I know that the Constitution of America is basically formed by the Dutch Constitution, right? Made in 1581. We were a republic long before you guys were. So.
When you talk about the phone call, I had many lawyers for the state and others on the other side. Right, Bruce? I had many lawyers on the other side listening, and I had lawyers on my side. There were many people on the call. Now, I'm supposed to be a very smart person. Number one, I wouldn't do it anyway, but I sure as hell wouldn't do it with many people on the line. But here's what happened. So this only came up much later. We talked, they talked, we talked. I talked about how I thought the election was rigged, how I thought it was terrible and everything else. Brad Raffensperger was on the line, and a whole team of lawyers. Here's the main, look, think of this, the call was perfect. But none of those lawyers, they were state lawyers, big ones, the biggest ones. They didn't say, "Sir, what you said is inappropriate. Sir, you must immediately take that back, sir. We cannot go any further with this call unless you take it back. What you said is horrible. We want to indict you for what you said, sir." It was just, we just talked. In fact, we agreed to talk the next day because they knew I was not happy about an election that was rigged. And when you had a couple of months later the 2 senators going up, a lot of our supporters said, "We're not going to vote," because they didn't.
So when Joe Biden was a congressman, he actually took files, right, from the Library of Congress. And he still has those files stashed somewhere. You know, you're not allowed to do that as congressman. That is against the rules. Every country has rules and regulations, right? And, you know, it's very sad to see that all these rules and regulations are used against the public, not for the better of the public, which is supposed to work that way, but against the public, right? And here stands a man prosecuted, right, has like a cross on his shoulders, and, you know, he's trying to run for president because he knows what's on the table. He knows about the North American Union, right? And he's trying his best to stop this globalization and global deals and stuff like that. That is a good, inspiring thing.
Didn't feel good about what happened. They knew. They saw all those red hats and all those bandanas and all that stuff that was going in with Make America Great Again, America First. They've never seen anything like it, and they were lost by a whisker. But remember this, on the call, I say it now, nobody complained. It was a long time afterwards. Nobody said, oh, that was, and if they were going to complain, they have to complain against me. They have to say, why did you say that, sir? Why did you say that? You know, they're so virtuous, they're such babies, I'm sorry. They couldn't stand. No, if they heard something wrong, they would have had an obligation to tell me on the phone. Nobody said that. You listen to the tape. We just continued a conversation. There was nothing that was said wrong. I was complaining about an election that I think was rigged. And the day that you're not allowed to complain to the proper authority, and the day that you're not allowed to complain an election, then we are indeed communist China. But just remember that for the reporters and the fake news, you got a lot of fake news back there. A lot of people.
No, you are allowed to protest. You know, protest to vote. Hey, didn't a Democrat say that? Yep, I believe so, right? What's her name? Stacey Abrams or something like that, right? Stop the vote. We want to recount. When Democrats say it, it's all, you know, taken seriously. But when Republicans say it, nope, nope. And that is the great divide that divides you Americans, right? They're trying to base it on race, on the color of the skin. But Martin Luther King said, it's not about the color of the skin, it's about the character of a person, right? So, and I see this guy as a beacon, basically, you know. But politics is in our hands, right? They work for us, not we for them. It's not supposed to work that way. You pay taxes to pay them to give you service when you want something from them, you know? So, and all the money spilt and spent, it's astounding, really is astounding. Why wage wars when everyone in the world wants peace, right? So we're also going to take a look at Sudan, what's happening over there, because there was a ceasefire in Sudan, right? It's also very interesting to watch this. Sudan ceasefire. There we go. let's see. Sudan ceasefire. 1-day truce comes into effect. That was yesterday. I believe they're still fighting. So, and there were more ceasefires, as you can see here. This was 2 weeks ago. And 1 month ago, you know, we don't want war. We want peace, right? And you could blame the people of Sudan. They needed to do more to get rid of the military regime over there, right?
So we're going to begin in Sudan, where a 24-hour ceasefire has begun between the army and paramilitary rapid support forces. It's the 8th truce since the conflict started in mid-April. The United States and Saudi Arabia brokered the deal. It's meant to allow the safe delivery of humanitarian aid, but previous ceasefires have failed to stop much of the fighting. We're going to go live to Hiba Morgan. She's in Omdurman across the Nile River from Khartoum. Are there any signs that this ceasefire is holding, Hiba?
Well, we're just 4 hours into the start. We're just 3 hours into the start of the ceasefire that began at 6 a.m. local time, or around 4 GMT. Now, here, people say that they were not able to hear any sounds of gunfire or heavy artillery. That was their biggest fear. And the mediators, Saudi Arabia and the United States, says that this is for humanitarian purpose, but it's also for building a confidence between the rapid support forces and the Sudanese army. And they say that they will be monitoring violations closely from both sides. Now, the mediators released a document yesterday that showed the violations from both the Sudanese army and the rapid support forces with regards to the previous ceasefire.
Don't you think that's weird? I mean, you got two fractions, right? The military and also the proxy army that used to support the military, but now is fighting the military, right? And you have outside forces watching them, not intervening, you know, just watching them, seeing if they are committing war crimes or not. Don't you think that's weird? Because Iraq was attacked for less. You know, it was attacked under a lie, the weapons of mass destruction. Nope, no weapons here. That's really what Bush said. Really, I'm not, you know, making this up. Let's see, no weapons here. Bush. There you go. So first he says, oh, Iraq. Oh, you got Saddam Hussein. He's bombing, he's gassing his own population and all that. Now, that may be true, but there are some, you know, political stuff that the Ba'ath Party did not like the Kurds in the north of Iraq, so they did gas them, but using American weapons, right? So that as a premise, saying that, you know, that Saddam is bombing or gassing his own people, it's like, oh my God, man, oh my God. But let's see if Bush can find the weapons of mass destruction he talked about.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere. As you can tell from the look on Andy Card's face, we've become a little concerned about the vice president lately.
Those weapons got to be somewhere, right?
Whenever you ask him a question, he replies, "Let's see what my little friend says." But we get along well. Here I am saying, "Dick, if the Hunan Palace doesn't get lunch here in 4 minutes, we're going out."
You are not funny. You never have been funny. You are a war criminal. You need to go behind bars, right? And Julian Assange is supposed to be free. He's had enough punishment. You avoided punishment, right? We're having an eye on you, Mr. Bush, and also your friend, Mr. Blair. Yep, we're still watching you, Mr. Blair, right? These are the players that lied to us, lied about the weapons of mass destruction that costs millions of lives. There's a report that came out, right? Wars post 9/11, 4.5 million people have died, right? I'm not making this up. We could take a look at that. If you think, that guy's crazy, well, I'm going to take a look at the report post 9/11. First report there. Let's see if we can get rid of this war criminal, right? He needs to come to the ICC, to the International Criminal Court over here in the Netherlands, in The Hague, which he denied, right? He said there is no International Criminal Court. Yet that same institution wants to take Putin to trial for attacking Ukraine. They did not do anything about Mr. Bush or Mr. Blair or Mr. Balkenende, who was our prime minister. Nothing about that, those people. Nope. We're going to take a look at that report. At least 4.5 million people died post 9/11 war zones, a number that continues to grow after more than 2 decades. 20 years of violence, right? I would not, I'm glad that I'm in the Netherlands. I would not want to be in the Middle East. For 20 years, there's destabilization going on. Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, right? And Israel poking its head everywhere, whilst suppressing the Palestinians, the people who call themselves Palestinians, because once there was a deal for 2 states in that region, and that is basically gone. So, yep, that's what happens. We know what's going on. We know. We know. We will never, ever, ever forget the millions of lives that have, that are gone. Families displaced, right? for wars that which we waged. Blood is on my hands. You know, my government supported terrorists. And I see my government as a terrorist. Sad to say so, but, you know, that's how I see it. 30,000 people were put on the fraud list, right? De kindertoeslagenaffaire, child care benefit scandal. Let's see if we can, child care benefit scandal. There we go. Dutch child care benefit scandal. We're going to take a look at Wikipedia, who's, you know, not always right. So, but gives, you know, perspective on what's happening. The Dutch child care benefit scandal is a political scandal in the Netherlands concerning false allegations of fraud made by the Tax and Customs Administration while attempting to regulate the distribution of child care benefits. So first, people get child care benefits, right? But they get too much money. And then, you know, the Tax and Customs Administration is checking on this. And, hey, you got too much money. I think you're a fraud. You know, I'm going to put you on the fraud list. This is what's happening in the Netherlands. It's scandalous, right? And the Prime Minister is still standing. Now, there are 2,090 kids so far that are gone from people who are affected by this child care benefit scandal, right? So, and of those kids, 2,090 kids so far, 413 or 14 have died under the age of 5 years old, and stuff like that. You know, it's amazing, really is amazing. So, as a parent, you lost your job, you lost your house, you lost your partner, right? And you lost the most, you know, the most precious thing you can think of. You lost your child, you know. And this is what's happening in the Netherlands. And it's still running, basically. The parents are supposed to get compensation from the government, but they'd rather give so many millions of euros to Ukraine to fight a war there than to give people compensation. So this is the country that I live in. I'm not proud of it, but now the Canadians and Americans and all these international people, now you guys know. And there's more going on. This is just the tip of the iceberg, right? So I think I've streamed long enough, and ja. Ik heb niet meer te zeggen dan wat ik al gezegd heb. Het was weer een roerende avond. En ja, we blijven maar doorgaan. Hè. in de hoop dat men wakker geschud wordt. Please, wake up. Smell the roses, man. You know, drink the coffee, smell the roses, wake up. I always say in Dutch, vecht voor het land waar je geboren bent of sterf in een land dat je niet meer kent. Ja. Fight for the country you were born in, or die in a country that you don't know anymore. So we're gonna close off with another Canadian friend we have. We have Kotab, we got Chris, we got Queenie, we got all these Canadian people, all these beautiful Canadian people, you know. And we also have Natasha Maeve. So we're going to close off with Natasha Maeve. And keep your spirit up.
Slip the truth in these songs. If I didn't, I wouldn't feel like I'm righting my wrongs. I gotta switch it up. I'm sick of the sadness, sick of the anger. I rap it out to an old school beat that hits so hard it's a headbanger. I'm breaking free. I was trapped in the everyday chamber. I escape now. Now you can dance for the remainder of this tape now. I'm lightening the mood because we gotta keep in shape. Keep the balance while we stay awake. Make no mistake, don't pretend that it's all good, but don't think that it's all bad. There's a lot of love, a lot of light, a lot of memories to be made and good times to be had. I wanna bring back that boom bap, dance your ass off all night. Real dancing while you're free, not twerk and treat you like a rag doll. You're acting brain dead, I'm done with Sergio, that's what Jane said. I watched a flake fall, and I know it's time to live our lives like it's our last day. Humans are treating Mother Earth like she's an ashtray. They won't make it home on the last train. Where we going? I don't know. I don't have the answer. I just know that this matrix is a fucking lie. So I'm getting out and I'm living life. The trees, the breeze, the rocks, the plants, the medicine, the dirt, the water. I am Mother Earth's daughter. Too smart to be a victim of the slaughter. And this beat, could it get any hotter? You know I love the fire because I get to watch it all burn down. This phony ass empire. I love the fire cause we get to watch it all burn down. This phony ass empire. So love the fire. Keep your mind sharp, keep your body strong, keep your lips smiling, keep your eyes brightened, keep your spirit up, 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 keep your spirit up, keep your spirit up, 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 keep your mind sharp, keep your body strong, keep your lips smiling, keep your eyes brightened, keep your spirit up, 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 keep your spirit up, keep your spirit up, 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 keep your heart loving, keep it light. Bump to this heavy beat and let the pain and the energy that you don't need escape and be free. It's alright. You can use this music as your therapy. Every time the snare hits, it's clearing your body and your mind from the trash you don't need. It's magic, it's alchemy. Just put a little trust in me. I got you. Most of my life, no one had me. Now I can see exactly what we all need. So let it go, bob your head, dance it out. Feel these words in every cell of your body. Feel these words, feel these words, feel these words. Goodbye pain, goodbye to the thoughts that don't serve my brain. Goodbye to the doubt, I don't doubt myself. Those days are long gone, I live for the earth. Life goes on, goodbye lies. Goodbye to the shitty parts of yesterday. They do nothing for us, it's a new day. Hello good times, hello to the laughs. The strength, the self-love, the smell of the flowers, the sunshine, the warmth of a fire on a cold day. Fuck the future, fuck the old days. Hello to now, right now, right now. It's all about now. So stay in the moment and keep your mind sharp. Keep your body strong, keep your lips smiling, keep your eyes brightened, keep your spirit up, up, up. Keep your spirit up, keep your spirit up, up, up. Keep your mind sharp, keep your body strong, keep your lips smiling, keep your eyes brightened, keep your spirit up, up, up. Keep your spirit up, keep your spirit up, up, up. your heart loving. Keep it light.
No, I'm on fire now. You know, I'm on fire. I wish I could confront the enemy, which I already did, right? Twice. I confronted the Prime Minister twice. Yes, I did. I wish there was a third time, and there will be a third time. You'll see it on RHTVLive, right? We're going to ask about the Bilderberg Group, World Economic Forum. Hey, Mark, what are you doing there? Huh? What are you talking about? Because your party said transparency is very important. Well, no transparency there. So, before we shut down, shout out to Kotab. We're going to show his YouTube channel, Maple Blazed Productions. There we go. And we have Kotab and Chris talking to each other almost every day, right? So, interesting thing to follow. Thank you all for watching. We'll see each other next time.